We're back. We are back. We are back. We are back. That was a quick little switcheroo, wasn't it? So we had to make sure that everything was working well. So of course, tonight is the night. This is part B with the amazing Dr. Thomas. Move this over. I got the other light, and I see that reflection. There we go. This is part B with the amazing Dr. Thomas, and he should be jumping on just a few minutes. So Dr. Thomas, if you're there, just keep scrolling till you see the live. Yes, I am Rochelle. I'm coming to you live from Indianapolis, Indiana. We have Dr. Joseph Thomas out of Chicago, Illinois. He blew us all away. He wowed all of us. This wasn't his first time, but he really did last week when we were in Chicago. When we were in Chicago, and this man has, I mean, he just drowns in knowledge. He just has so much information. He's done things that other doctors haven't done. He's researched things that other doctors haven't researched, and it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. And so we definitely wanted to bring him back here. He came on yesterday. Yesterday. He came on last week. And hey, Ernestine. Hey, Bridget. So I know a lot of y'all, they were just on a few minutes ago as we were trying to make sure everything would be good just now. And he told me he was on. So we just got to make sure. I just wait till I see his name. So keep scrolling up and down, Dr. Thomas, till you see the live. I might have to scroll over real quick and give him a quick call. But I know he's on. We already made sure that was the case before we started. So I'm so excited to hear this information. Okay, he hasn't popped up yet, but he will. So right now, you guys have time. If you got time, go ahead and yell out to your friends, your family, different ones. Grab your pencil, grab your nuggets. Get a recorder, record some of this stuff because you won't be able to. But you can always go back as it's on live, so you can always go back and hear it. But yeah, this is some really pertinent information you're about to hear, and I'm just awed, and I'm just in awe at the information this young man has. So let me see, hasn't popped up yet. So I'm gonna try to call him again, and I know he's on because he already told me he was before I started the live. So I know he's here. Just gotta give him a couple of minutes, and he will be here. Hope you guys had a fantastic day. It is raining like cats and dogs here in Indy. So, but you know what? It's still a good day. It's still a good day. Don't matter if it's rain, sun, shining, or whatever. So, just waiting to see his name pop up. Hey, Bridge. Hey. All right. So, if you guys know anyone right now, go ahead and grab them because we want to use all this time. Let me call him right quick. So, y'all just hold on. Go grab some people and come on back. What's going on, guys? He said he sees it. He sees it. Hey, Gerald. Hey, everybody. We'll be starting, and he should be popping up any moment. And there he is. All right. So, again, if you know you invited someone and you don't see him, bring him on. Go call him now. There he is. There you are.
Can you hear me?
Say something else. Okay. Say something now.
Okay, just checking if you can hear me clearly.
I can hear you, but you still sound a little low. So if you can put your microphone or whatever you had on earlier, that'll make it better.
Yeah, that's as loud as it goes.
Right now you're good. Right now you just went up. Whatever you just did, that went up.
That's why. Because when you sit at one computer, this microphone is low.
Okay. All right, but we hear you now. Okay, so I know this man don't need any introduction. I know he don't, but I would like to introduce to you this amazing young young man, I am so thankful that we had a chance to do this because I'm just learning so much and I'm just blown away by what he knows. Oh my gosh. This young man, he has a lot up in that brain, you guys. So, and he's willing to share this information. So he was here last week and we made a plan B out of it because there was so much more to talk about. So he's here again. So I'm going to be quiet and I'm going to bring on no one else but the amazing Mr. Dr. Joseph Thomas. Mr. Thomas, take it away.
Yes, I am thankful to be able to share those things
Okay,
that I've
stop.
learned.
Okay, stop 1 second. Can
Yep.
everybody hear us? Somebody just said they couldn't. Can everybody hear us? I know 2 seconds ago we could hear you. Now say something again, Dr. Thomas.
So I'm very thankful to be able to share those things that I've learned from studying nutrition and metabolic medicine because it was quite a long journey.
Wait a minute, they
And
still
so,
saying they can't hear. Oh, we can hear. Never mind, we can. We can hear. All right, go. All right, good.
okay,
No more interruption. Go
good,
ahead.
good. All right. So
Okay.
it may be, I'm holding a phone, so it may be a little distracting because it's going to be moving.
Okay.
But the couple of points that I want to make from doing a lot of research, uh, I think the old medical model is going to have to change. And the main reason the medical model is going to have to change is that they don't assess the contributing factors, which are stress, toxins, and deficiencies. So, stress can be psychological stress, it can be physical stress, and it's what's called shear stress. So, shear stress is a problem that happens with your microvascular blood flow, where it creates a problem where you start getting blockage. And I have put together a scenario that, for those who know, there's a thing called a cadaver lab. Cadaver lab in med school is where there are quote unquote dead bodies that the professor has dissected and labeled what that person had wrong. And then the other half of the dead bodies, the medical student has to dissect and discover what's wrong, and they get their grade based on that. And so we had a 6-month-old baby who had died in a car accident in our cadaver lab. And they had labeled the carotids, showing that there was plaque or beginning of buildup in the baby's arteries. Now, that buildup at 6 months, you can imagine as time goes on, that's what leads to people having cardiovascular disease. And in fact, if you do the research, you'll find that the Korean War and Vietnam War, they did autopsies on, the 19-year-olds that had been, shot or whatever, or died during the war, and they found that they had plaque at the age of 19 or 20. They had plaque in the arteries as well. So this plaque is building up all the time, and it became apparent to me after doing the research that the level of plaque that builds up is slow. So it might take 20, 30, 40 years of eating the wrong food, not getting sleep, not having the right nutrients, and it leads to the point where you now have heart disease. So probably
Mm.
everybody listening has heard of somebody who seemed like they were okay yesterday, last week, last month, or last year, and then all of a sudden they found them, they didn't wake up, or they died from a massive heart attack, or they had a massive arrhythmia, meaning the heart start having irregular heartbeats, and they didn't recover from that. So all of those things are due to something that's preventable, but if you can't measure it, then you don't know you have it. So the one thing I would like to offer to your viewing audience is that they could do what's called a stare test, where if you walk up 60 steps, and you have to do these 60 steps in like 90 seconds. So if you cannot do 60 steps in 90 seconds and you're out of breath, you're sweating, or you're too tired, that means that you don't have a good supply of blood going to your heart. So that could clue you in long before you have a heart condition that you should be checked. But the problem is, if you get an angiogram or they do regular tests for the heart, it turns out they can't detect anything. Why? The problem is in the microvascular blood flow. So angiograms will detect blood vessels of 100 microns. Let's say the size of your hair. The new machine called GlycoCheck that I use to check patients can detect down to 4 microns. So in other words, 20 or 30 blood vessels would fit inside of one of your strands of hair. So when we find that your blood flow in these tiny vessels is decreased, this happens years before you actually have a cardiac event. But here's the real kicker. The inside lining, well, first, your capillaries are about 60,000 miles. You have 60,000 miles of capillaries in your body. And the inside lining of these capillaries is lined by cells called endothelial cells. So what they now know, but it's not quite finished being published yet, your endothelial cells is the largest organ of your body. Most people never heard that. It's not in the textbooks. The endothelial lining decides what gets in and what doesn't get in. This lining is what produces the nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is the gas that allows those blood vessels to slowly dilate and contract. So without that, you have compromised blood flow. And everybody's heard probably of a nitroglycerin patch, that when people have a problem, they put the patch on, that gets absorbed, and that opens up their blood flow. Well, what they don't know is that your body makes this nitric acid that opens up your blood vessels. But guess what? If the lining called glycocalyx has been diminished, then that doesn't work, and you start to have a decrease in your blood flow. So this is all new, but the company that I went to, they're from the Netherlands. So the CEO came over and did a presentation in Atlanta. So I flew there and met him, spent 3 days with him, and that's when I learned all of these new details. Then you can take the information, if you just Google microvascular blood flow, or if you look up one of my websites, microvascularhealth.com/Scarlett's Healing, you'll find dozens of videos and papers that detail this new finding. Now, why is this so important? So, 2 things. Number 1, they told me in confidence, well, we're not going to publish that, but we have been testing since 2009, and we have found that African Americans have the worst microvascular blood flow. That's absolutely the worst microvascular blood flow of any group in the world. Combined with having the worst vitamin D level of any group in the world, from my research, this totally explains what they call health disparities. What is that? Why Black women die the most from breast cancer, Black women had the most heart disease, Black men die the most from colon cancer, Black women die the most from cervical cancer, lung cancer, Black people had the most high blood pressure, the most kidney failure. Because I ask my patients every day, why are all the kidney dialysis units only in a Black neighborhood? You know, in Chicago, go up north, you don't see all these dialysis units. And up until recently, they didn't have all these dialysis units, even in Africa. So there are metabolic things that are responsible, but everything you hear on the news, they're trying to say, oh, it's a socioeconomic problem. No, it has nothing to do with socioeconomics. So I could tell you more about that, but we have to really keep in mind that new information usually is rejected by most people.
Mm-hmm.
Some of my
Mm-hmm.
friends would say things like, well, if what you're saying is true, we would have heard about this when we was in med school. So I have to remind them, you was in med school 30, 40 years ago. They didn't know this then. This is new information. You can't reject it because you didn't hear about it 40 years ago. Everything is changing. And then I said in the preview, hey, they admit now half the stuff you learn in med school is wrong. In other words, the next 10 to 15 years after med school, they're going to find new information that cancels out the old stuff. The problem is they don't know what 50%. And so now here's new information that I challenge anybody. You could look up microvascular blood flow. You could look up the websites. I think you have my cards on your page. You can look up the website and read about it. And I encourage people to try to prove me wrong, because that's how I learn. I don't have a problem with somebody saying, well, I read this and I read that. And it indicates the person who is looking to improve their health has to have an open mind. They have to be willing to change. And what you'll find is that, and I'll go through it later, there are several things that may not fit in with your previous thought pattern, but there are things that have to change if you want to get healthier or not have what they call, the health disparities or have the health problems your family might have had.
Okay. So, wow, that's a lot right there. So, with the microvascular blood flow and all the things you just saying, the low vitamin D, all the things you just named that African Americans we're plagued with. Well, okay, so did we just get dealt a bad set of genes from some genetics from way back, or
No,
can
no,
you
no, no,
tell us
no.
why? Right,
Yeah,
exactly. Can you tell us why
yeah.
we are been dealt those cards? If you could please explain.
Well, yeah. First of all, uh, I call it a geographical curse, because if you have pigment in your skin and you are living above the 33rd parallel, that's north, or if you live below the 33rd parallel, that's south, then you cannot get the ultraviolet B waves from the sun that create the vitamin D in your skin 6 months of the year. You can't make it. So the people that have melanin in their skin are supposed to be living closer to the equator. And they actually have graphs that show the further away from the equator you are, the more, for example, diabetes you get, or the more heart disease you get. So it's geographical. Now, you can overcome this because it's not the genes, it's the fact that the nutrients aren't there. So I like to give an example. If you were getting your kitchen remodeled and they did everything, they did the floor, they put the fixtures in, you got new light fixtures, they did the water and the electricity and put drywall up. But Saturday, they're going to come do the cabinets. So the guy brings an extra guy. They got 3 guys on Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
but you didn't buy the cabinets. You can't finish the remodeling work if you don't have the cabinets. Your immune system is not functioning properly if you don't have enough vitamin D. So the first thing I'd like to challenge your audience with, vitamin D or any vitamin is something that your body can't make. So since your body can make vitamin D, it's not a vitamin. So that's number one. So they thought it was, years ago, but it's not true. So I call vitamin D restore hormone. Vitamin D, therefore, is the most deficient hormone in the world. That's why the immune system is compromised, and that's why there are 17 different cancers that you're more likely to get because your vitamin D level is low. It's so important, for example, if you have breast cancer, then when they look at it, the people who have the highest vitamin D are most likely to survive. Why? Because your immune system is working better. So combined vitamin D, which is a vitamin D endocrine system that keeps you healthy, combine that with the supplement I call Endocalyx that restores your blood flow, and now you have a chance to renew your body the way it was designed. And go ahead.
Okay, so we're saying all these diseases that we've been plagued with over the years. Well, your mama had it, your daddy had it, you gotta have it genetically. It's just da da da. So we're saying because we're so far away from the equator, we're living in different parts that we don't get a lot of vitamin D over a certain time of the year. That if we just upped our vitamin D, our health, and like you just said, maybe with the other supplement that you have, if we upped, and vitamin D is not really a vitamin as called it.
Right.
It's what you just called it. It's a restore hormone. And if we up that or move to a climate that sun is shining all the time, that will help us tremendously.
Absolutely. Think about this. I think probably a lot of people have heard that in Alaska, they don't even have the sun that much for 6 months of the year.
Right.
And in Alaska, they have the highest rate of depression because they have the lowest rate of vitamin D. So here's something that they automatically know is related to that thing they call vitamin D. So the other thing is, I want to caution your viewing audience, when a doctor writes a prescription for vitamin D, it's D2. D2 is not absorbed that much. So that's a mistake. Not only that, they tell you to take D2 once a week. Now that's crazy. What if I told you to eat once a week? What if I told you to breathe a whole lot on Monday and don't breathe the rest of the week? So it's certain things that your body is supposed to do every day. So vitamin D is something that the designer made your body able to make vitamin D from sun hitting your skin every day. So anybody who thinks they can make an improvement from the original design, I would say you need to think twice about that. So vitamin D, D3 is the one, and most people need 10,000 a day. Some people need 20,000 a day. But here's the thing: have your audience chime in. Who knows their vitamin D level? So
well,
I can see some of my patients are on here, so they ought to know. But when I had an audience of 100 people, maybe they were shy, but nobody raised their hand and said their level. So I want to talk about
all
that,
I
but I
know.
want you to check it.
All I know about mine, because I had mine checked, all they said that it was in the toilet. It was very, very low. I didn't get a amount with how much how low it was, but I just heard it was very low. But at that point, I thought it was a vitamin. Then I found out it was a hormone. This is
Think of that.
very interesting.
This is so important. It's like you going to work and they say, well, you're getting an average salary, but they never tell you the amount. Would you tolerate that? So the fact that that's something that is tolerated means that there's a lot of miseducation. So I'm going to go through maybe 3-4 things right quick. If a person, doctor, nurse, or layperson, has not had training in nutritional science, then the only thing they're going to think is work is a drug. They're not going to understand food is medicine. If you never had training in meditation, then you don't know that meditation is medicine. So you don't know that you can meditate and it can help with anxiety, depression, a whole bunch of problems. So the only thing you had to turn to is what?
Medicine.
A drug.
Medicine.
If you have never heard of the endocannabinoid system, which is the system that helps your body deal with stress and other things, and that's how CBD oil works. That's how marijuana has receptors. If you don't know there's an endocannabinoid system, and they weren't teaching that in medical school because they didn't know about it. But if you don't know about that, instead of using CBD for back pain or sleep disorder or anxiety, then the only thing you have left is a drug. If you have never had a class on exercise physiology, then you don't know that exercise, your muscles release hormones that make your brain work better. It's called brain-derived neurotrophic factor. So if you don't know that, then you don't understand how important exercise is. Matter of fact, this is so important. Most people will be slow to believe this, but if you go from sitting on a couch every day to walking just 30 minutes a day, that improvement of your health will be tremendous. And then if you go to running, it doesn't improve it that much. In other words, going from not doing anything to 30 minutes is the biggest improvement you're ever going to get. So some people, they do it because they love it, but I'm saying the first step is 30 minutes of walking, because exercise is medicine. Meditation is medicine. I guess last thing I want to mention right quick is that each person has to take responsibility for their own health. So I happen to know and have studied things. So here's 17 or 10 biomarkers that I think everybody needs to get, because we want to know, do you have an excess inflammation in your body? Well, let's do a C-reactive protein. Do you have something that's damaging your arteries? Let's check your homocysteine. Do you have a high amount of end products from high sugar? Let's check your hemoglobin A1C. And so the interpretation is important. Let's check your vitamin D level. The interpretation is important. So without the training, they'll say something stupid like, oh, your level was fine. What does that mean? That means your level was between 30 and 100. Well, how would you like it if your kid came home on a spelling test and said, my spelling test was fine? And you ask them, well, what are you talking about? They say, well, the teacher said the normal range is 30 to 100 on the spelling test. You should be proud of me. I got a 30 or a 40. Now, when you were growing up, or when I was growing up, if I came home with a 30 or 40 on a spelling test, my mom would have popped me in the mouth. That's unacceptable. She said, in this house, you need to be doing the best you can, and that should be 100. Matter of fact, you need to ask for extra credit, 110. So if your vitamin D is not at least 80 to 100, your immune system is in trouble. If your immune system is in trouble, you're going to have colds, flu. The only people that died from COVID were people with vitamin D less than 40. University of Chicago did a study, March 2021, and they said every point of vitamin D over 20, you reduce COVID by 5%. That means if you go from 20 to 40, that's 20 points. 20 times 5 is 100. 100% reduction in COVID by getting your vitamin D over 40. Didn't make the front page news.
Wow. This is so incredible, because something that's so, I'm not going to say so simple, but yet so simple. If we just had the knowledge, just knowing that vitamin D, I bet you if many people have known that vitamin D would keep your body so much healthier, many people would be living somewhere in the South or somewhere where there's more sun, and or at least be taking a supplement on a regular basis if they're not getting it throughout the year. So I really feel, yes, definitely food is definitely medicine, and meditation. Yeah, that's definitely all that is true, Bernadine. So, so vitamin D, we know that we're saying the majority of African Americans, we are lacking vitamin. We need to go, when we go to the doctor and get those panels, we need to ask, no, what is it? Not give me the range, what is mine? Right. And that way you won't go away just thinking, well, they said it's good. No, what is good? Yeah. Let me know what my range is. Yep. Yeah. And so
if you allow them to say, oh, it's in the normal range, and you don't know the number.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like letting somebody tell you, oh, your salary is going to be in a range, and you never know the number.
Yeah.
Not only that, a large number of I told you, the African Americans in this country had the lowest vitamin D. That includes the people in the South.
Oh,
Why? Because you stand in the house. It's hot.
oh, because they told you stay in the house. She just said, he said stay in the house. That's
Yeah.
fun.
But
Oh,
here's
wow.
one.
Yeah.
Here's one they won't tell you. And I'm not trying to get too detailed, but if your skin type is Fitzpatrick 6, that means if you're so dark that you never get a sunburn, it'll take you 10 times as long to make vitamin D compared to the white person. So the lightest black person you know would take double or triple the amount of time to make vitamin D than a white person. Well, let me put it in perspective. The white person can make 1,000 units of vitamin D per minute. That means in 10 minutes, they made 10,000 units of vitamin D.
Mm.
It would take you the whole day.
Wow.
The darker
That's
person,
so.
it would take them a week. So you have to understand there's some specificity, there's some details here that since the doctor, nurse, or even yourself never had a class on nutritional science, then they can't comprehend the detail of vitamin D being a hormone that goes into the nucleus of the cell that turns on 83 genes that makes you healthier, and it turns off 80 genes that are bothering or messing up your health. They can't comprehend that. They can't comprehend that vitamin D, if you have a high level, you don't get end-stage renal failure. So you could look up, you could Google right on your phone, vitamin D and kidney failure, and you'll see all the papers said high vitamin D, less kidney failure. Listen to this one. High vitamin D, less high blood pressure. High vitamin D, less cancer. Doesn't that sound like something that should be on the news?
Yes,
Nope.
it should be. It should be.
Nope.
This is something they should be.
Nope.
This is one of those things that you said a lot of them didn't know, 40 years ago because they weren't teaching it. But they've been teaching it. You learned it. I know everybody's not going to go through all because you did some stuff that I know a lot of them won't do. They're going to take what they learned and that's it. But you did more than that. And if we didn't have someone like you explaining this, some of us would go the rest of our life and not even knowing this.
Right.
Something that we can do so simple, pop some vitamin D in our mouth,
Right.
get out there and take in the sun whenever you can, when the sun, and we wouldn't have known that there could be something so simple that we can change our health instead of being plagued with all these things because of lack of knowledge. So I truly, okay, somebody was saying vitamin in 2022, their vitamin D was 30. Was 30.
Yep.
And I bet the
Yep.
doctor said, you in range.
Right.
You in the range. Oh my
Well,
gosh.
try this one. What group in the United States has the most preterm labor? Black women. Who has the most low birth weight babies? Black women.
Black women.
What happens if you have enough vitamin D? It eliminates that problem to a large degree. What's the proof? University of South Carolina did studies about 10 years ago. They said you need 4,000, 7,000 of vitamin D. And if you're breastfeeding, you need at least 7,000 or more so that the baby is protected. So here we go down that rabbit hole where you can verify everything I'm telling you, but because it's advanced endocrinology, it's advanced nutritional science, it's advanced physiology that wasn't taught 20, 30 years ago. And understand what I'm saying. As the chairman for OB-GYN at Windsor University, these are offshore medical students, and they were in my office today. I asked them, hey, what are they teaching you about this, this, and this? They're not teaching it now. I'm talking about today. They're not teaching it. So, of course, I expose them to it, but the didactic lectures, there's only 9 medical schools that I could find that have recently, within the last 2 or 3 years, incorporated nutritional science as part of their basic science program. 9 out of hundreds. So if you're going to wait for those doctors to finish in 2 or
Wow.
3 years, and then go through in their internal medicine or something another 4 or 5 years, and then get out and practice, that might be 8 to 10 years. Some of us ain't gonna be here. So
Exactly.
everybody you've ever known that's black that had a heart attack and stroke, all of them were so vitamin D deficient, it contributed. I don't say it was a total cause, but we can get into some other causes. But now I'm gonna be stepping on your toes because I'm gonna tell you straight up, you kill yourself when you eat fried food.
Mm. Can you
It's
explain
the,
that? Explain, Dr. Thomas.
yeah, when you heat oil up to what 2, 3, 400 degrees, it becomes damaged. That oil is in the food, fish, chicken, whatever, and that oil becomes a part of every single one of your cells. So every single one of your cells is damaged. Just a little bit though, just a little bit. But over 10, 20, 30 years, you have whole organs that's not functioning. You have decreased blood flow because you've damaged the glycocalyx layer. So for those who are interested, like I said, www.drbloodflow.com. That's my website where I try to summarize some things about microvascular blood flow. But you have to be willing to try to accept new things. I try to explain. People need, when you hear something that you don't agree with, the first thing you should say is, "Tell me more."
Mm-hmm.
The mindset has to be an open mindset, not the closed mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow.
cognitive dissonance is when you get a gut feeling that what you're hearing doesn't agree with your past belief system. And for those in the audience, this is my attempt at humor. What's the initials for belief system?
Share.
It's BS.
Oh, got you.
So your
Okay.
problem is your BS. Your belief system interferes with future learning, because how many people will admit that they think their belief system is not true? No, everybody believes your
But that
belief
belief
system is true.
system. Right. Exactly.
So the higher concept, higher order thinking would say you should seek information that goes against what you believe, and then prove if that new information is correct or not. But since nobody's trained to do that, then you're
We
stuck.
just go with
You're
just
stuck
go
with
with
whatever programming you got as a kid through your family. So I said this at the conference. I don't think I made too many friends. I said, how many people think in the audience that you're a Black American? And so people were raising their hands saying, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I said, let me explain something to you from my point of view. And nobody has to agree with my point of view. But my point of view is God didn't make Black Americans. He just made people. There's one race, Homo sapiens. Anything other than that, you're making a mistake, because you're accepting a division. You're being deceived into differences instead of understanding the similarity. And they've proven this. For an example, this might be too much, but all cats, the race of cats, they can take the sperm and fertilize any kind of cat with any other cat. That's because it's one race. You take a house cat sperm and fertilize a lion. That's because it's one race. If it's a different race, then you can't breed. There's no human beings that can't breed with other human beings. There's only one race.
Yeah.
So to the extent you've accepted that there's all these different races, that's just brainwashing. To the extent that you accepted that the food that different manufacturers have created is food, you're being deceived. There's only one food. That's the food that the creator made. Anything else, I got a problem with.
Yes.
There you go.
Oh
There you
my
go.
goodness. Oh, I
So
have
when you get down
questions
to
that's coming through here. Oh my gosh, this is so good. Oh my goodness.
yeah.
You should do this to Dr. Thomas. You just got everybody all you're really opening up our mind. We have so many why is darker people why is it that darker people need more vitamin D? Because you just said because of their pigmentation in their skin,
The
is it
pigment,
harder for the sun to get
the
in?
pigmentation is blocking it.
Yeah.
See, ultraviolet
Mhm.
A causes sunburn, damages your skin. So you need pigment to block ultraviolet A, but you need ultraviolet B to make vitamin D. So the right combination, and you have to understand my point of view. Like I said, you could argue, but the right combination is the skin color that the creator made people with based on where he put them.
Mm.
He didn't put dark-skinned people in Scandinavia, up north.
Mm.
That's a whole nother topic, but I'll say this. Here's some proof. There were rich families in Somalia or Sudan, and they were tired of warlords and famine and all that stuff. They had a lot of money. They moved up to the Netherlands, Sweden, and in 2 years, their cancer rate was up 10 times. You can't get vitamin D with dark skin up there. Well, how did the white people get vitamin D? I'm going to tell you. They eat all the fish that has vitamin D.
Mhm.
Listen,
Salmon.
exactly. So I like to joke and say, J&J don't have vitamin D fish. That's a place in Chicago where you get fish.
Oh, J. Okay.
J&J.
Okay.
Whitefish,
Okay.
tilapia, catfish, jack salmon, shrimp, all that stuff. There ain't no vitamin D there. You got to have salmon, herring,
Sardines,
mackerel,
all that.
sardines,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
anchovies, the
Yeah.
big, thick, fatty fish. And so when you do research, it hits you after a while. All of the civilizations that were advanced only happened near the coast.
Mm-hmm.
That's because they had access to vitamin D and they had access to omega 3. Here we go down another rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Omega 3 is composed of DHA, and everybody's probably heard since you was a kid, fish is brain food, right? You heard that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Whereas the DHA is exactly what your brain is made of. So if you
Oh.
have a high level of DHA, and it's just like I told my pregnant patients when I used to deliver, take this fish oil, it will boost the DHA, and your kid's IQ will be 4 to 10 points higher.
Y'all hear that? Say it again, Doctor. The
I said,
kids.
take omega 3 fish oil that has a lot of DHA, and your kids, if you're pregnant, or even once they're here, their IQ would be 4 to 10 points higher.
Wow.
They don't want you,
Wow. What?
that's suppressed. They don't want you to know that.
Oh my goodness. That is so ridiculous. Oh my gosh. Oh, this just makes me so. Oh my goodness. Okay. This just. Mm, wow.
So,
I always heard that we need more omegas, omega
yeah,
threes, and I think
yeah,
sixes we have enough of. Or was the sixes one? I mean, we have too much of
yeah,
sometimes.
omega
But I
6,
know threes.
omega 6, omega 6. When I test people, most of the time they have 20 to 40 times the omega 6 that they need.
Than they need. Yeah, that's what I've heard.
And
Where do
so
you
when
get
you
the
heat
omega
it up
six from? Where did the omega six come from? So
in
we
all
can.
the vegetables and stuff,
Yeah.
so when you heat it up
Okay.
though, it's damaged. And when it's
Oh.
damaged, it damages every single one of your cells. Omega 6 is metabolized into 8 different things that cause inflammation in your body. Omega
Mm,
3 is metabolized into 8 different things that decreases inflammation
in
in
your
your
body. In
body.
your body. So if you cook, I mean, when you cook your fish with the omega threes in there, it's
Yeah.
still more helpful than doing the omega six because it's definitely it started out
Well,
helping
yeah, you should
your
bake your
body.
fish or broil it or something
Mm,
like that,
not
not
fry,
deep fry it. Right.
not fry it. Yeah,
You don't
yeah,
need extra omega 6.
yeah.
I
Okay.
like to joke like this. If you have bad oil in your car, don't you go and get an oil change?
Yeah, I just
So
said that today. Yeah.
they take the plug out and drain all the old oil out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, where's your plug to get the old oil out of you? You don't have one. So how do you get rid of the old oil?
Let it out.
You have to quit
And
putting it
start bringing,
in.
yeah, start putting in some good oil. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
quit putting it in. And so one of the doctors who long ago quit doing cardiovascular surgery, because he said he's the head of Cleveland Clinic. That's not too shabby a place, right? He said the people that had the first heart attack, he could prevent the second heart attack, not by surgery, but cleaning up their diet, stress reduction, and things like that. Dr. Esotil, something like that,
Mm-hmm.
Caldwell Esotil. So Dr. Dean Ornish at Harvard since 1984 proved you could reverse heart disease.
Mm.
So here are prominent people, but if you ask your doctor or cardiologist, they all say, "Oh, I never heard of them." So I thought
Mm.
it was a coincidence. Mm-mm.
Wow.
So,
Okay, I got a question for you.
yep.
Okay, so because I know our little time is going so fast. So as you were saying, so with bless you, with everything that could be going with going wrong with our body. So would you suggest that, why don't we just everybody that can, and as soon as we can, detox our body to allow, and then start to maybe bring in more of those, like you said, the omegas, and get rid of some of the stuff, the junk that's down in there, and maybe start to maybe do a detox, and then start putting in better foods, better fish, and and getting some of that, like you said, and adding vitamin D to our diet. So how many people have you met that was African Americans or that had the efficient amount of vitamin D over in your career?
In 15 years, not one single person.
Now, that's sad to say. That's sad. And what's even more sad, that they don't stress that we freaking need the vitamin D. That's even more sad.
That's right. But what you have to understand is, at some point, that it's not an accident.
Yeah, yeah. I said, yeah.
So as soon as and just for your audience, I've read that Harriet Tubman did not say what I'm about to say, but they attribute her to say, "I could have saved more slaves if they just knew they were slaves."
Mm, yeah.
So from a nutritional point of view, from
Mm-hmm.
a heart attack, stroke, and chronic disease point of view, I could help more people if they just presented themselves to me and said, "I want to be helped."
Okay.
Everybody thinks they're okay. Everybody thinks, "Well, I don't have any problems." Yes, you do. You have heart disease and you just don't know it. What do I mean by that? I already told you the baby had it at 6 months of age. Whoever
Wow.
walks into my office automatically know they have 1 degree of heart disease or another. That's just a fact. It's a fact. They got a metabolic problem. It's a fact. You can give an animal diabetes. Well, this is how they give animals diabetes. They give them high fructose corn syrup.
Oh,
That's the stuff people drink in all their drinks. It's in the food. It's in pop.
yeah.
They're consuming something that they know causes diabetes,
Mm.
but they don't tell you that. Here's one they're not going to tell you. Remember I told you stress, toxin, and deficiencies?
Mm-hmm.
So I've looked up to try to find what's the number one toxin that causes diabetes. Anybody want to take a guess? Number one toxin that causes diabetes. It's arsenic. So there's,
Arsenic?
there's arsenic. So a little bit of arsenic is in your food and other places. That goes in and is toxic to what they call the B cells, the beta cells that produce insulin. The second thing that's toxic to these cells is fat. So when your liver gets full of fat from the high fructose corn syrup, guess what happens? It gets stored in the pancreas. When the pancreas has too much fat, the beta cells don't work, and you now have diabetes. That's from high fructose corn syrup. But they're not taking that out of the food. People are still consuming food that is causing a disease because it's a toxin.
So speaking of that right now, people that have type 1, type 2 diabetes, and they're saying, I forget which one that said if your pancreas don't work, you got to always be on insulin. What's your thought on that? Can that, in your opinion, can that be reversed? I don't know. But I shouldn't even say, I don't know. I should watch what I'm saying because we're on this Facebook Live. May need to. Okay. So, okay. Let's. We're gonna leave that question alone. Okay. Can some things be reversed in our bodies? I don't know how to answer that question because we know that things can be knocked off if too much stuff is said that goes against other things.
Here's the best answer to all of those questions.
Sure.
The number one thing, the way your body was designed to heal itself, was the infinite intelligence that's in your cells. So people may not recognize it, but you ever heard of something called stem cells?
Yeah.
So stem cells are the things that go around looking for things to fix. So if you have functional stem cells, you have a chance of fixing anything. So I'm not going to say, 100%, but I'm just saying you have a chance. Stem cells are the immortal cells that's in your body that give you a chance to heal. Now, guess what stops your stem cells from working? Any amount of aluminum, lead, mercury, or herbicides, toxins. So if those things, according to the researchers at University of Rochester, turn off your stem cells, then in the future, you're going to be sicker than if you didn't have those stem cells turned off. So of all the things that I've researched, like I try to tell people, there are 5 or 6 areas where I did extensive research and study, and you just have to say no to some things, and you got to know what you have to say no to. So we teach you that. We draw your blood because we want to test and not just guess. But all the time patients come from wherever they come, they bring me the lab panel they had from their doctor. None of the important things are tested. They're doing the routine stuff like your blood count or your complete metabolic profile and things like that. But your inflammatory factors, they didn't test that. The vitamin D, they didn't test that. The homocysteine, they didn't test that. All of the biomarkers like peroxynitrite, they don't test that. So there are toxins that if you knew they were there, you might be inclined to learn how to reduce the toxins that's going to make you sick in the future. And the biggest thing they don't teach people is that when you're pregnant, you're programming your kid as to what diseases they might have when they're 30 or 40. So you can't willy-nilly, as a pregnant woman, like eat all that junk food and think it's not a consequence. Oh, I feel fine. Oh, the baby looks fine. Okay, you don't understand how life works. So the 7-step life cycle of every single cell has points where you can make it worse or you can make it better.
Okay.
So
I saw something on here that a young lady had typed in. Oh my goodness, this is so amazing. She was talking about if I can find it real quick. I may not be able to find it. Oh, she said black women. She worked at a hospital during the infant mortality rate was the highest nationwide. And then the hospital hired a black doctor, Dr. Haywood Brown, to help lower the rate of losing our black babies.
Yeah, that's true. So the infant mortality rate in black infants is 200 times higher than white babies. Matter of
Mm,
fact, the infant mortality of black women is 400 times higher. Listen to this: if they see a white doctor. So it's absolutely well known that there are some factors that have to do with detecting the problem, listening to what the problem is, treating the problem. But infant mortality, and this is the last thing I want to emphasize 100%, is reduced by over 63% if the woman breastfeeds, either completely or even
hmm.
partially.
Yeah.
You know what that means? That means bottle feeding is killing babies. Oh, don't say that, Dr. Thomas. I said if breastfeeding reduces it over 60% and you bottle feed, that means you're eliminating
I did.
breastfeeding. Doesn't that mean it's increasing the rate? So there are a lot of things regarding nutrition that is very important for pregnant women, but it occurred to me that your stem cells are your baby cells. These stem cells are your adult baby cells. That's going to be your health in the next, 5 to 10 months, 5 to 10 years. So you got to treat your baby stem cells properly. So no, it's just not nutrition for the pregnant woman. Every single person's life depends on proper nutrition, proper exercise, proper hydration, proper sleep, balancing of the immune system, yeah, but balancing of the hormones. So when we test for all of this, we can help people and figure out things that they might have had for 10 years. I have plenty of patients who had fibromyalgia for 10 years. They saw different doctors. He got rid of it in less than 2 months because
Mm,
it's an imbalance in nutrition that they were never tested for. So there are a lot of things we encourage people to become inquisitive. If you're out of state, get your doctor to at least do vitamin D. But it would be in your best interest to come get a glyco check, which is the instrument that goes under your tongue to measure your blood flow. That's going to help you in ways that your doctor, doesn't even know about yet. It would also be
okay.
helpful, to get your vitamin D level, get your omega
Right.
3 level, and there's
Right.
10 other tests that you need. And then once you find out where you're deficient, you can do something about it.
Right. So I know our time is up, and I just got to ask. So because I mean, I know you live in Chicago, and we have people on this web on this chat all over. But if they wanted to come to see Dr. Thomas, what would they have to do? I mean, would they be able to? Dr. Thomas, the various test services you offer covered by medical insurance.
Yeah, about half are and half aren't. So Medicare and other insurances have guidelines where they don't pay for prevention. It's actually a rule that says that.
Right.
So
Okay.
you get your one preventative visit a year. So yeah, we'll get things started, but we'll tell you right up front, hey, we're gonna try to do these labs, see if your insurance will cover it. If not, you're gonna have to pay for them. We're gonna try to do this,
Yeah.
insurance might cover it.
Okay.
If not, you're gonna have to pay for them. We got 2 or 3 different
They want to.
let's call them programs, mild, moderate,
You're
or
you're breaking up
severe.
for some reason all of a sudden.
Okay. So we
Okay.
have programs that people can sign up for. One thing I encourage everybody is to learn about hyperbaric oxygen chambers. So we have that for my patients. So that heals things that other modalities won't heal.
Say
There are people who
that
have
again. The high.
hyper
Say that name
yeah
again.
hyperbaric oxygen.
Hypervariate.
So It's a
Okay,
chamber
hyperbaric.
that pressurizes oxygen. And what has been detected, there are people that had a stroke, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years ago, and they have problems with their muscles because of the stroke. And after 10 or 20 treatments, they've regained most of their function. So the cells that are damaged, when they get more oxygen, they kind of reactivate. So all of this is what I call integrative and functional medicine. And my practice is under the heading of regenerative medicine
Mm-hmm.
because we teach you how to do the right thing so that we're not doing the healing, your body is doing the healing. It's already
Right.
designed to do the healing. So, last joke I like to say, which is not a joke, but I'm sure somebody out there in the audience has an expensive car. But I ask you, I don't care how much you pay for that car, can they fix your car while you're driving it? No.
No.
Do you think your body can heal if you're not getting enough sleep? No. So all you people who like to press the midnight oil, you're creating a sleep deprivation, and your body can't heal. Your body heals with deep sleep. Your brain heals with rapid eye movement sleep. So more on that at some future time. But anyone that comes down, they can make arrangements to come in. We have at least 1 or 2 Saturdays a month, and we try to give you an outline of what you can do, just basic. But those who want to get more information, we have 3 different levels of programs. Because if you know somebody that has had heart disease or a stroke, and I don't know if you ever put it up, but we had that person testify that they took Endocalyx and they went from 70% blockage to 20%, so they didn't need a stent in 9 days. That blew me away.
Yeah,
That
the
totally
one that was
blew me
at
away
the
at the conference.
that was the
Because your body was
that was
designed to heal itself. You just have to know the secret triggers. You have to know
right.
what's the right nutrition to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so what you grew up eating is probably not what your body needs. You probably need to be tested to find out what you're deficient in.
Right.
I'm so sick of people asking me about what's that stuff? Oh, sea
See,
moss.
Mom, I
Yeah,
knew
sea
that's what you
moss.
about to
Sea
say.
moss. I say I hate it. If you don't have a deficiency in minerals, how is more minerals going to fix the deficiency?
That
If your
makes sense.
deficiency
Yeah.
is vitamin D, more minerals don't fix vitamin D. If
Mm-mm.
you're deficient in minerals, then minerals going to help. So people get, benefit from sea moss. But if you don't never test to see what you really need, that's ridiculous. That's like, man, I take my car to get the oil change. Yeah, but you need brake fluid. How you going to fix your brakes with a new oil change?
Okay, so I know we're gonna go up. I know we're over time. So we need so we go to our doctors and we need to ask for a certain panel of tests. So that's what we know. That's what we need to start there.
Well, it's not,
Our vitamin
yeah,
D and all that. I know that.
right. There's a list
What you
of
said?
them, but it's not one panel. Like if you ask for a micronutrient panel, it's like 400 tests. They ain't gonna be covered, and you're gonna be paying $2,000. And that might not
Mm,
be what you need because you might need a hormone panel, not a micronutrient panel. You might need
mm-hmm. Okay.
both. But we pick the ones like I don't need every hormone to start off with. I need vitamin D. And women don't even know the highest hormone production in a woman is testosterone. They think it's estrogen. So like when I tell the men, if your testosterone is low, you have more heart disease. So all of these guys go to the doctor. They never test them, including me. When I went to my doctor, they never test you for testosterone. And then by the time you have heart disease, it's too late. If you're over 30 or 40, you need to know what your testosterone level is, man or woman.
Right.
So, so it's a lot of things which, I'm trying to hit the most important ones. I'm probably missing some, you know. Uh, I'm
We only
missing.
had an hour, so you can't get them all, but you sure
Yeah,
hit a lot of them.
yeah.
You've hit a lot. So, everybody, I've been told we need to have another 3, but I don't want to worry you. But oh my goodness, this is really This is really amazing. A great call. You have you wowed us again, Dr. Tom. Not that I didn't think you would. You have definitely wowed us again. You are just like I said, a plethora of knowledge, and I don't
Well,
know
give
how we.
him, I know,
I
yeah, put
had to figure
on
this
your site,
thing out.
put on your site my office number. In some
Okay.
cases, we can do what they call a telehealth visit if you live out of town, and then a real
Okay.
visit when you're able to come in. We can talk about panels and so forth. But somebody just posted something. It's the topic I love to fuss about.
Alkaline,
Yeah,
alkaline water.
buying alkaline water is the biggest ripoff in the history of the world. If
Oh my
you
goodness.
want alkaline,
Please.
if you want
Please
something
speak.
alkaline, that's called fruit and vegetable juices. Why do you think you can improve on the one who made it? Don't you think the designer knew what he was doing? How you gonna go around that? Think of this one. Did you know lemon water is alkaline,
That's
alkalizing?
what I heard.
Did you know
Yeah,
lemon is acidic? How the heck can acid be alkalizing?
it changes
It's
the
what's
form.
in it. So the lemon, the meat of the lemon, has something in it that your body metabolizes and alkalize your body.
It changes.
So if you put some pH water that's alkaline in your body, that's a big joke. Stop wasting your money.
So you're saying if we get some water from the faucet or water and add some lemon to it, it can become alkaline within our body.
Yeah, but never get water from the faucet. Oh my
Okay.
God. Don't,
I just was thinking that. Okay. I haven't had water from the faucet for a long time, but
Woo.
so we're just saying, just if you just buy regular water, spring water, whatever, just add some lemon to it. Is that what you're?
Right,
But what water
right.
should they buy? They just tell us what water would you suggest they buy and add lemon.
Uh, you buy a filter and filter your own water.
Mhm.
Why are you buying plastic bottles?
Mm.
Plastic is an endocrine disruptor. It disrupts your endocrine system. So like I said,
You just
8-hour lecture, we hit it, but the scope of things has been so perverted by TV that people are willing to believe anything without doing any research behind it.
yeah.
Ask, where's a paper that proves this, that, or the other? Look for proof. And you can find it. So, I encourage people to continue to have an open mindset, do some research. And, like I said, I hit the biggest things. 100% of Black people over 30 have a microvascular blood flow problem because the food that culturally Black people eat, the lack of vitamin D, the lack of omega-3, the lack of vitamin C, all contribute to your blood flow not being the way it was designed to be. So until I find something different, it's clear to me that, especially with the lady that just told us, she cleared her vascular system from 70% block down to 20 in 9 days using the endocalyx.
Right.
You'd have to just, if you research it, you'll find out what it does, how it does it, and that it's scientifically proven. 30 years of research,
Mm-hmm.
180 different hospitals and universities have done the research. So it's not fly by night, it's actually proven. And then you could then, look into getting that one supplement, endocalyx. Number 2 would be vitamin D. Number 3 would be omega-3. And vitamin C should be added because very few people get enough citrus. Some do, some don't. But at least if you start there, that's the beginning. That's the beginning. After that, we got to test so we're not guessing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to add I'll put they wanted your website as well. That's on your card out there? Is that on your
Yeah, it's
card?
on
I'm sure.
the card.
Okay. Um, so if if people wanted to go ahead and set up the pre the pre visit before the real visit, should we do a Zoom or should we just get a group of people who want to come and see you? How would that work for you?
Yeah, yeah. So all they would have to do would be to call the office and set up an individual, what do you call it, telehealth or Zoom visit. But they should get their, my office will set up all the information. And if you got labs, send the labs. That way, it could be reviewed and brought to, uh, some recognition of at least where you're starting.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. All right. So, and then, if anyone, they're asking when with the endocalyx. I know some of us got that when we were at the conference. We were ordering that
Yeah.
because we were very impressed with what after she made the testimony on her, what it did for her. That was mind blowing in itself. And yeah, so very just. I'm almost speechless again because you had just brought. I mean, you've been past nuggets. You've dropped the bomb on us again tonight. I wish we could have you on every month. You're educating us very well. I don't know. We may need to talk about that, but no, I really appreciate you. I know I'm going to be coming to you, Lord willing, and because I was looking for a doctor anyway, but it just you have what I've been looking for, so I'm so thankful for that, and I'm sure many other people may be. What is it? Oh, Dr. Blood Flow. Oh, that's your other one. So he has the blood, his sites out there, guy websites, www. My guest, please inbox me. Okay. Yeah, and any of our guests that come in, like you, if you've invited people, make sure you get back with the person that invited you. If I invited you, please inbox me, and we can give you other information on Dr. Thomas, and then I'll put his information out there anyway as well, because this product he's talking about, we definitely, you may really want to think about doing that. Make sure you get your vitamin D check. If nothing else, go get that doggone vitamin D check, and don't let them just tell you you're in the range. No, what is my range?
Right.
What is my range? Don't just go with that. So because you're in the, no, I need to know what that
All right.
is. And then maybe get your
So,
megas and all that checked as well.
yeah. So it's been good talking with you. I'm glad I could, share that with your audience.
Thank
So
you so
I'll
much.
be
This has
talking
been
with you guys
amazing.
later.
Yeah,
All
can
righty.
y'all give them some love, guys? Give them, I don't know how to do the balloons and all that stuff that comes up, but I'll let you know. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Have an amazing night. We really appreciate you, Dr. Thomas. So, and I will be in touch. Thank
All
you,
right.
guys. Thank you, God, for hopping on.
All right.
It'll be on our Facebook page, so you guys can always go back and listen if you want to take more notes. It'll be out there running, so you can always go back and plug other people into it. Okay? All
Okay.
right. Thank you,
All right.
Dr. Thomas. You guys have a good evening. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.